Beefy Boys, episode 87. Coming to you from Sparks, Nevada. Partner be joining me from Norman, Oklahoma. And yeah, we do this show cross country. Talking UFC 274. We're the only show out there going over every single fight from the early prelims to the main card. You can find us on Twitter at Beefy Breakdown. And yeah, just support, share the content, like the content, comment on the content, and we appreciate y'all. Harrison's going to be joining me shortly. Anybody that won any money on these fights, leave it in the comments below. I wish I had a better gambling record. It's still fun to do. You know, one of the benefits of living here in the state of Nevada. Sweet, man. But yeah, man, how's it going, brother? Hope you're having a good Monday, man, with this Monday night edition of the Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 87.
Yeah, it's been good so far. I got some Hollerhead.
Oh, Hollerhead. I'm coming with the high noons.
You know what? This is only $24 for this bottle. And this is $7.50, but $24, like, honestly, I thought Uncle Dana would be charging an arm and a leg. Like, Connor charges more for his Irish whiskey than Dana charges for that.
And I think he charges more for a bottle than Patty Pimblett made to fight Vargas.
That might be true. Man, I watched Patty's Food Truck Diaries. That dude's hilarious. Love Patty Pimblett. Like that, he'll be a star. He's doing it the right way. I like his mindset. I like what he's doing. He's a smart guy. Smarter than I gave him credit for initially. So I was really happy to see that.
I haven't watched the episode. It's hard for me to envision this ending well, or at least him at 155. Maybe he goes on for success at 170, but I just don't know how many times he can do this like 60-pound cut.
No, it's going to eventually like destroy his body. He even says in the episode, he's like, I think I have an eating disorder. Like, it's actually a problem. He was like, there's been days where he's monitored his calories, hit 11,000 calories, and still been hungry at the end of the day.
Yeah, man.
That sounds like a real physical disorder.
I had to go through like a change as like an athlete where like I spent the ages 13 to 22 trying to gain weight, and then pretty much every day since then trying to lose weight. And it's a hard switch to flip. And I mean, I know these fighters, they have people to help them cut weight and they have it dialed in, but man, it's from like a personal discipline, like mentality perspective, it's hard to flip that switch.
I think that's actually a perfect transition into UFC 274, right? Our headlining event, Oliveira Gaethje, which we're going to get to in our main card breakdown. Unfortunately, hits a road bump and is not a title fight for both men as Oliveira misses weight. So missing weight is a big deal in the UFC. You can lose your title because of it, as we have now seen.
A stain on the whole evening, right? Just kind of cheapened everything. Now, in the moment, it didn't really take place in my mind. But, as far as my excitement goes, as far as, like, the buildup goes, it kind of threw a lot of cold water on it for me.
Well, and I will say, too, like, with the way that they had done it where they stripped him on the scales and then so vacated the belt and then said that if Gaethje won, he would be the champion, it at least didn't take anything away from Gaethje. He actually still got the 20% of Oliveira's purse, which is huge. Like, think about how much Oliveira gets paid. Gaethje got 20% of that.
Well, and I think it's being debated. Did he make champion money or not that night? Like, because that's a big
right.
difference.
Like, does he get that point share? Like, because the contract Oliveira signed was a pay-per-view point share contract.
He signed the contract when he was still champ. So yeah, that gets real murky. I think Dana's going to do right by him. Because I think Dana said even some kind of flattering words about he's essentially still the champ, but he's technically not.
Well, and so that's the other thing, right, is that everyone still saw him as the champ coming into the fight. And then the other thing is, too, like, without giving away the outcome, if he is able to not defend because it's not his, but win that fight, well, then no one has the belt. So it's essentially, like, if no one has it and you just got stripped of it but just won your fight, kind of hard for me to not mentally think of him as the champ still.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we do this weird thing where if that was a non-title fight, he makes weight, like half a pound.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, it's hard because I think we just like Oliveira. I think if this was like an unliked champ, you wouldn't be hearing any of this rhetoric. It'd be like if Aljamain Sterling missed weight. Could you imagine?
Oh my God! People would just be like, "Yes!" Like the
like
fire would
no,
erupt in the streets.
no benefits of no doubts. But I think it shows that like us as UFC fans have a respect and a somewhat kind of what do they call it? An acquired taste for Charles Oliveira as champion.
Well, and I think his character change is so awesome, and so many people can align themselves with wanting to take the easy road and quitting when it gets hard, and then learning that that's not the way to be the most successful, and instead fighting that adversity and raising your head back to it is almost always more successful. So he has a human story, that people can just identify with. I'll be honest, I watched the Embeddeds this week, and I just love that dude. Like, I don't hate Oliveira at all. His story's so good.
And I know I'm like, I'm balls deep in UFC. I follow very closely, and like maybe it doesn't translate to the average fan, but I'm kind of even over the language barrier. Like he does, the UFC has good translators, and
That
Charles
one Brazilian
Oliveira's
translator is good as hell.
and he's really good at kind of getting his point across, even via translator. Like he's still like I don't know. I feel like he's good with his words, and he's a great champion. And so I know we got to get to these early prelims, but goddamn, there's a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I just thought some of the overarching stories deserved a little bit of time, and also I think what we should give some time to at some point, or we have to, DC in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things, right, where it's a no-brainer. Like it's like when Tom Brady gets his Hall of Fame. It's like, am I going to be shocked? No, but is that still going to be a cool moment as an athlete I watched for years? Yes, you know what I mean. So
And to get to see his reaction live,
yeah,
and then immediately have him on a microphone afterward for the rest of the night. Like, I thought they did a good job.
no, very cool. Yeah, and the fact they were able to keep it a secret. It's hard to keep secrets nowadays.
Yeah, no joke. And then the fact that like Dom Cruz was there, and like you could tell Rogan was actually emotional about it too. Like, it was just cool to see. Like, those guys actually really like each other, which just makes all more for the realness of the UFC.
Rogan's testosterone levels would kill a small horse. So there's a lot going on there. But yeah, man. I guess let's dive in. Let's dive in. A lot of storylines on this card, but let's dive in here on the early prelims because we are the only podcast out there that covers every single card and every single fight, early prelims. And if we're not, we're saying we are. So fuck it. And we're going in on the early prelims. We got Journey Newsom and Fernie Garcia making his debut, jerking the curtain. Actually, Garcia is favorite, minus 130, even in his debut, fighting against Newsom, plus 110. In the bantamweight division, man, I got to say, I love my bantamweights, but I wasn't familiar with these fellas. But hey, they put on a good fight. And I got to shout out Newsom's from Hayward, California. That's just like 20 minutes from San Jose Bay Area. They got a BART stop, so you know what I mean.
You rode that same railway.
Yeah, no, seriously. I know at some point Journey Newsom was on the same train, so gotta show love to the Bay Area guys.
You know what I thought about Journey Newsom and the odds was more so that it's just the long layoff he's had, and this is a great fight that had conflicting stats of whenever you take a more than like 18-month layoff, I think you lose 61% of the time, but fighters making their debut lose 57% of the time.
Dude, we finally got the real stat. We've been throwing out bro science stats for months on here, but we got the real number. 57. I think we had thrown out at like a 70 or something, but hey.
I think it was, though. I think it's been coming down. Because I think they're getting better debut fighters.
Shout out Fialho also on the card, but some studs out there fucking up that number. But you're right, yes, 57. It's a real number, not just bro science for any longer.
Right, yeah. Which 57-43, you tell me that's 4/3 on the breakdown. So four out of 7 fighters are going to lose, or 4/7. I'm sorry, I said 4/3. So, but 4 out of 7 fighters are going to lose that debut fight.
I'll tell you what, as a guy who partakes in legal sports betting here in the great state of Nevada, I factor that in. It's significant enough for me to factor it in on future bets, right?
And I think the other side of it too is that 61% of the time you lose after an 18-month layoff, well, ring rust is real too then.
Well,
statistically.
I've always felt strongly about that. That just confirms what I already felt because
Yeah.
then it's cool to see it in fucking wax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and back-to-back stats, too. They kind of just gave us crazy analytics in this fight to really just make us
I like
seem
that.
more
You
right.
notice they tweaked that, like, what, 3 cards ago? They tweaked, like, the new graphics and analytics guys.
They have a bunch of, like,
They
stats.
hired new people. They're kicking ass. I
Yeah.
fuck with it. I
Yeah.
think they're taking kind of, like, the best parts of the PFL, like the
Exactly
hyper
right.
analytics, and,
That's
like,
exactly right.
using it. Yeah, I'm all for it because I'm not trying to watch that much PFL, but I like that part of it.
No, yeah, exactly. And I did watch PFL Friday, and it just, when Anthony Pettis just ran through his opponent in the first round, it made me realize, oh, yeah, it's just not the same level.
Well, I watched the Roy McDonald fight, and he kind of ran through his guy too. But it's like I'm here for it. Fuck it, I'm here.
No,
for
yeah, I
it.
love to see a good beating. Trust me, especially from
I
some
think
old
both
vets that I like.
Yeah, like dude, it's crazy. Roy McDonald's like 32 years old. He's not even old.
I know.
It's
And
crazy.
he just is like, I'm just gonna go fight for where's the best money and the least damage. Don't blame him for that.
Yeah, you
But
can't blame him. But
but
yeah,
as
back
you
to the task at
yeah,
hand here.
we'll get a bantamweight breakdown in here real fast to start. Journey Newsom plus 110, as you said. Fernie Garcia minus 130, the favorite. As we said before, our long stat journey. No pun intended. Newsom got a.
I was late on that. I was late.
Newsom got a nice takedown halfway through the round, but had no control with it. I thought that Fernie Garcia, anytime they were in boxing range on the feet, was for the most part winning the round. I had him taking the first round just based on damage and kind of control of the space.
Me too, bro. Those counter combos. You know I'm a sucker for that. It's not the first time you've heard me talk about it here on the breakdown. When a fighter can counter with multiple shots, it gets me going there. I'm just a big fan of it every time. That's an easy way to win me over as a fan and as a judge. So yeah, I gave one to Fernie Garcia as well. It's crazy. Only one judge agreed with us.
That's what I was going to say too. I thought that was kind of a more clear-cut round, to be quite honest. Like I really felt like it was a Fernie Garcia round. Yeah, and I think the strike numbers were something like 16-9 in favor of Garcia, which Newsom wasn't even landing power shots when he was landing. So it's like, I feel like it had to go to Garcia because that takedown, he only had him down for 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't enough for me to give him the round.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, like you said, 2 judges disagree with us. Now, I will say in the second round, Newsom's hands and combos got a lot crispier, cleaner, almost more creative, really. I think he was bringing more creative striking combos that Garcia didn't want to contend with as a boxing striker.
Yeah, well, and to me it came down to in round 2, Newsom was going first. And like I said, I'm no Freddie Roach here, but it was obvious to me that he was like leading the engagements and having success when doing so. Which like I said, in round 1, Fernie Garcia, I like this counter. So something happened there that's above my pay grade, above my knowledge. But some adjustment was made there to where he was able to go first and not get countered, and it won in the round.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I was surprised by that, too, because he was trying to go first in the first round, but was telegraphing his shots. So it's almost like he changed up what he was throwing, at least as far as the combinations, or maybe just the timing that he was throwing them at. I'm not sure what it was exactly, but he definitely was landing first, which was a huge deal, especially when a guy's trying to counterpunch and you're punching him straight down the middle and kind of getting him off of that line where his counters are whiffing off of your back of your head, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Missing into your chin, things like that. So I had it 19-19 after 2. 2 of the judges had it 20-18. One judge agreed with us again, 19-19. Then the third round, I think everyone's in agreement there. There's no debate on that round, in my opinion at least.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Newsom looked great on the feet. He got the early takedown. Not much more he could have done better in the third round.
You didn't even mention the head kick. I mean, he was.
That's right. Spinning back fist to heel hook kick.
Oh, yeah, man. He was piecing him up with the hands, controlling the grappling, head kicks. I mean, what more do you want?
The kick was late in the round, too. I mean, he almost could have maybe got a finish there. But, 15 seconds left, so it was almost like it just survived for Garcia. But it kind of put a stamp on the round.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so the right man won, but I do find it interesting that only one judge gave Garcia round 1.
Yeah, I know. Kind of feel like Garcia got robbed of a round there, but either way, in hindsight, it won't matter.
No.
His coach was kind of a dick too. If you recall, his coach was like, "Don't get back to the hotel and tell me you should have done this. You could have done this. Just do it."
I liked it.
I get it. I get it in the moment, but I was just
I
like,
think
man,
that's what fucking Trevor Whitman should have fucking said to fucking Rose, and we'll get to that. But
we'll definitely get to that. But keeping it with 115 fighters, moving on next to Lupi Godinez, minus 170. Ariana Carnelossi, plus 150.
Lupi did it, man. She won me as a fan. I fuck with Lupi, bro. Like
she broke through.
She broke through that like fringe fighter level into like somebody I'm looking forward to watch fight. I'm not gonna say like somebody, you know, I there's limits here, but I'm saying like looking forward, I'm looking forward to Lupi's next fight, man. And you know, as far as what Carnelossi had to offer, she came in with a beautiful record and you know, an athletic build and a mean streak.
And a good few last fights too. Like, it wasn't like she's on a skid.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we got Lupi Godinez minus 170, Ariane Carnelossi plus 150, fighting at strawweight. But man, this fight was all Godinez, man. Like, I don't know if we need to necessarily go round by round. I mean,
I think it's just a matter of how you score rounds 2 and 3. I mean, the winner of every round is Lupi Godinez, no question.
You're right. You're right. No, round 3 is worth talking about, man. I scored round 3 at 10-8. How'd you see it?
I scored round 3 at 10-8. I said perhaps a 10-8 second round after the second round, but I didn't commit to it. So I had it 30-26. Is that what you had it?
Yeah, I had it 30-26. Two judges agreed with this. I mean, in the third round, she had the big slam takedown, ground and pound elbows. She had like a big knee at the end of the round and another takedown. Like, I mean, she just did whatever she wanted.
Her display of striking, putting together a 3 or 4 piece combination, and then immediately changing levels and getting a takedown when she wanted offensive take. She was 8 for 8 on her takedowns, but when she got offensive takedowns, they were beautiful. And then all the times that she would dodge shots, level change, and counter with a takedown, it was also beautiful.
And to Carnelossi's credit, she created a lot of scrambles, of which Godinez won, which seemed kind of
Godinez scrambled really well. Like, just continually kept getting the 1 foot or hand in the right spot before Carnelossi could.
And it's like, there's these moments, right, where there's fighters that I consider kind of just jags, right? Just a guy, just a fighter. Like, yeah,
just a girl.
Talented enough to be on the UFC, but not talented enough for me to really give a fuck. Like, Lupi crossed that threshold for me. Like I said, like her dominant performance, and it was well-rounded. I mean, she looked great everywhere, bro. Like in between positions, in all different positions, standing, on the ground, in between. I mean, like it. I mean, it was a 30-27. I mean, 30-26. So that's impressive as enough. But like I said, it was how she did it. Like, and it wasn't like Carnelossi wasn't putting up resistance. It was just that resistance was met with like counter resistance, which is high level shit, man. Like it's over like being kind of like gimmicky or just a fighter to me for Lupi. Like, I feel like there's real skills there and real intangibles.
Let me ask you something weird. Okay, so out of rounds 2 and 3, you'd score 3 the 10-8 for sure, right?
Yes.
Well, 2 judges that had the 30-26 scored round 2 the 10-8 and gave round 3 a 10-9. I don't know how that's possible.
Wow.
Round 3 was more dominant than round 2.
I disagree
by far.
That. I disagree with that. I do got to say, I found myself kind of asking the question in round 2, and then round 3 answered that question. So it'd be interesting to see those rounds like in a vacuum. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, round 3 just had more ground and pound and bigger slams on the takedowns. I mean, they were just she had work on the feet as well.
It jumped off the screen more. No, I agree. We scored it the same way. We've been lockstep, so far.
Yeah, I was just shocked to see, which is going to be important tonight because there's a lot of split decisions. I think we had 3 splits, a lot of unanimouses.
Decisions. So many.
And some are robberies, some are not. I guess we had 4 once you get to the final. Anyway, yeah, I think the major takeaway from this fight has nothing to do with the scoring, but in fact that Lupi Godinez looked so good against a girl that's pretty damn good herself, and the way that she translated after the fight in her interview was also very positive. I thought she did a good job afterward as well.
Strawweight's pretty top heavy, man.
Right.
Like I feel like there's some girl there's paths up the rankings for Lupi Godinez, man.
Yeah, now I will say her fighting a girl like Jessica Penne or Angela Hill, those are going to be tough fights. But I think she can fight with those girls.
See, I think she's more well-rounded than Angela Hill. And I love Angela
I agree
Hill.
with that.
I have an Angela Hill trading card displayed in my home because I'm a fan of Angela Hill. I'm looking at it right now. So, but as far as skill sets, I think Godinez checks more boxes, man. She's more well-rounded.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think until you get to start getting girls like Amanda Hebas or Tisha Torres or Nina Ansaroff, I think that's kind of the level that we saw from Godinez last night, at least. So
yeah, it's worth the conversation. Now, will she beat those? It's one of those classic examples of will she beat those girls? Maybe, but could she beat those girls? I think potentially
probably,
the answer
yeah.
is yes.
She probably could. You know what I mean?
Could.
I don't mean to say she probably would. Probably could.
Could, yes. No, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you, bro. And you know what? Go ahead and introduce the CJ Vergara fight, and I'm gonna grab me another one of these high news.
For sure. So this this is going to be a super important fight for us to go round by round on. So we have Clejerson Rodriguez at minus 350. Is fighting at 125, so men's flyweight. For CJ Vergara at plus 270. Vergara was an underdog on his DWCS appearance, underdog in his UFC debut on short notice, which made sense against O'Day Osborne, but gave O'Day some trouble, which was surprising to see. And then Clejerson is apparently the prodigy kid out of the Nogueira MMA camp down in Brazil. So he's a big favorite in his debut. I saw why in the first round, for the most part.
Well, man, and as far as man, there's a lot of flyweight action. First off, last night or on Saturday, some important flyweight action.
I have a Chin of the Year nominee here in this fight.
Chin of the Year nominee, okay. I like it. I didn't necessarily think that in the moment, but yeah, we got to go round by round on this one, right? I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the first round, Rodriguez, like I was saying, I saw why he was a minus 350 favorite, at least in that first round, in my opinion. Got the nice takedown 90 seconds in. Vergara got up after a minute. So, not too long on the ground, but enough control that it was established position. You know what I mean? Before Vergara was able to get back up. Dude, then he started eating insane shots for the last 2.5 minutes of the round. Vergara he got hit 43 times in the first round, I think 40 of which were significant.
Wow.
Now, he landed 24 of his own.
Put those numbers to it. And it's crazy, actually, now that I look at my notes, I do have chin noted in my notes. I was like, Vergara has good pressure and good chin. Hey, that's a good combination.
That's a combo. If you're a pressure fighter, you have to be able to take a shot.
Who does that make you think of? Pressure and chin. Colby Covington.
Yeah.
First guy that comes to my mind.
A lot. He fights a lot like him, too. All just in the pocket, just trying to pretty much press you and be all over you. Now, second round, Vergara landed a nice combo and then threw that nasty body kick and dropped Rodriguez. Yes. And then got into a full mount and was literally just on his chest, piecing him out like a street fight. Yeah. Elbows. The ground and pound for me in round two was not ignorable. I know Vergara got up and won probably the last minute, or I'm sorry, Rodriguez got up and probably won the last 45 seconds to a minute on the feet there at the end of round two. But I was getting close to thinking 10-8 if Vergara had controlled out the round and kept dropping that ground and pound for the last minute.
No, I'm right there with you, man. So we both have a 19-19 going into the third, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And then the third is where it's going to get super interesting because this is going to be what you value. This is where it's going to be subjective judging, and I don't think you can really be wrong here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, I mean, I'm interested. You go first, bro. Fucking.
Okay, so Vergara, I thought, won the first 90 seconds on the feet. Then he got in that weird got his back taken kind of like in transition on the feet, then got dropped into a calf slicer as he's escaping, and then gets held in that calf slicer, so he's too far down on Rodriguez's body for him to actually get a choke off because he'll be able to just always slip his chin underneath the elbow, right? But then at the same time, he can't get up because his left leg is bent all the way under his like right hip, and it's controlled underneath.
Yeah, that was the most awkward like position I'd ever seen. I don't think I've ever recall seeing that.
Now, the way he escaped was exactly what he had to do. I mean, he had to spin 180 to free up his leg and straighten it and then pull it out immediately before he got caught for like an ankle lock or anything like that. But, I mean, it took him, oh, man, probably 2 minutes through that position. So there's only a minute and a half left in the round by the time he gets up. He got that takedown immediately into side control and then got reversed immediately again, but then got up again. And I felt like the end of the fight was pretty even on the feet. So Vergara probably did more damage in round 3, but I think Rodriguez might have had more control in the round with pretty good damage still. I went for Vergara. I thought he did more effective work, but I literally wrote in my notes, I can make a case 10-9 either way.
I went Rodriguez, man. Rodriguez. I mean, the whole round was like one big scramble, and I just liked how Rodriguez was like performing in those scrambles. I mean, super subjective, like you said. It's crazy. I mean, that paints a perfect picture. You went Vergara. I went Rodriguez. You know, it really was up in the air. It was a split decision. Let me see. I guess 2 judges agreed with you and 1 judge agreed with me. So your man wins. Your scorecard.
Yeah, but like I said, I wrote, I'm not sure how to score it. I mean, I leaned Vergara, but like I said, I could make a case 10-9 either way. And that was all a valuation of how you see fighting.
It was cool seeing just this action in the flyweight division. Like,
super fun. And both guys really tough, really great chins.
Yeah, and I want to see this division do well. Some people are cool with it being the redheaded stepchild and kind of the brunt of the joke, or kind of like borderline women's featherweight. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't want to see that. I see the bantamweight division so stacked, and I see like the UFC fans support small fighters, like that old cliche of like it doesn't resonate or it's not fun to watch. I feel like that's been put to bed. I feel like it's wide open here for some of these flyweights to make a name for themselves. So it's just cool to see some depth. I think that's quality depth. Like, I don't see Vergara and Rodriguez, and I think world beater, but seeing quality depth in a division that lacks quality depth, hey man, yeah. I'm excited as a guy who wants to see men's flyweight do well.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And actually, I was looking at the men's flyweight rankings because we'll get to the Royval Chanel fight later, of course, which that fight was awarded a bonus. Won't say who.
And it kind of proved that it shouldn't have been on the prelims. I thought that was a little disrespectful. I like both of those guys.
I think their intent there was the prelims were on ESPN regular, and so I think they were trying to give those fans some enticement to come to the program there. And then once you're there, they do a great job of selling you on a pay-per-view, man, with the stories they build, with the embedded clips.
Before. Like I said, before the podcast days, it used to happen to me all the time. Before the podcast days, I was more of a casual fan. I'll fully admit it. I'd watch probably, 4 to 6 cards a year, and including fight nights, including everything. And it would happen to me every time. I'd be fucking watching the free prelims, and by the time the prelims were over, you got some beers in you. You're feeling good. Maybe you got a pizza on the way, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to ahead and hit that buy button, baby.
Yeah, that's back when they were $59.99 too.
The good old days.
But yeah, I think moving forward, this was probably great for CJ Vergara because it allows him to continue fighting in the UFC. I think an 0-2 start's really tough to recover from with UFC brass.
Yeah, because like you can survive a 2-fight skid, but only if you have like somewhere to go, right? You need somewhere to slide back from. If you're starting from 0, you can't slide negative.
Right, and so for Rodriguez here, it's like, well, he's such a highly touted young prospect that they'll give him 2 or 3 more shots. They'll probably give him a 4-fight contract to start because he has so much backing and belief.
Well, like I said, these guys are exactly what this division needs, quality depth. And maybe they'll go on to have careers more meaningful than that, and that maybe seem like a backhanded compliment saying quality depth. But, hey, they said every division needs it, and both of these guys are good, and both of these guys are unranked. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, and Rodriguez used to be a 35er and then dropped down to 25. So, I mean, he's one of those potentially smaller bantamweights that might bring depth by staying down at 25.
I think, man, dude, if you're a smaller bantamweight, I think it makes a lot of sense to cut the weight. Now, if you're a guy that's barely making bantamweight, it obviously doesn't make sense at all. And that qualifies a large chunk of bantamweights. But for those bantamweights that are like walking around at 150, you know what I'm saying? Or you know, or God forbid a bantamweight walk around at 145 these days. Hey, there may be you know, room for you.
Yeah, for real.
These fucking bantamweights are walking around at goddamn 5'11", 170.
Like Rob Font. Like going
Fucking
almost.
Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, Aljamain's been up to like 178, he said.
Yeah, man, it's wild shit. But I guess let's get to this Melissa Gatto Tracy Cortez fight. You know,
Same
some
weight,
cool
different gender.
there. You know, what was that?
Same weight, different gender.
Same weight, different gender. That's one of the most. I find that interesting.
I
I
do
seem
too.
like nobody else really gives a shit. But there's
I
only
love
a couple. There's only a couple overlap weight classes.
Realistically, 25, 35. 45, I'm not going to count.
Fair.
I mean, if you look at men's featherweight, it's deep as shit and it's competitive as hell and highly skilled. If you look at women's featherweight, it's 6 fighters. So
that's crazy. Hey, speaking of,
we have
I
a
think
women's
that's
featherweight
just
fight on
not
this card
doing
too.
due diligence on the UFC's part because I watched the women's lightweight fight, not the Kayla Harrison fight, the PFL. There was a PFL 155 women's on the prelims or just whatever before the Kayla Harrison, and hey, they were talented, man. They were getting after it. They were good.
I agree.
These women exist. The UFC really just doesn't have an excuse. It just makes it look like they're just not doing their due diligence. Does it not? Like, I believe these women exist. Maybe they're in Brazil.
The UFC just doesn't want to spend promotional dollars on them because they don't see a return on investment yet because they're not. I don't think they understand in their mind. Like, it's like any fledgling company. You put in a lot more to start than you're going to make back in those first few years. You have to build it.
I just think it's kind of stupid at this point to view UFC division by division or like, as a business model. Like, I don't think it really matters. I think that's kind of dead. Like, that seems like kind of like an archaic thinking. Like, I don't like for example, light heavyweight was always the money-making division, and right now light heavyweight's kind of fucking mid. Let's be real. And so, you know,
it's all mids. It's all mids.
So, I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're just judging divisions based on history, like, I don't like that. I think it's stupid.
No, I agree with you. Now, I guess we should probably jump. Yeah, we'll jump back to the women's flyweight fight, the other F-labeled weight class, featherweight, flyweight. But Tracy Cortez, minus 140, the girlfriend of Brian Ortega, and also extremely gorgeous woman, versus Melissa Gatto at plus 120.
Tracy Cortez is like breaking through, man.
Well, she's from Phoenix, so she's fighting in her hometown.
Big pop in her hometown, big social media following. Got the kind of celebrity relationship. I mean, she got some airtime on Ultimate Fighter when Brian Ortega was the coach.
I think importantly too, clearly has the skill set.
Bro,
I think that's important here, right?
Because like I went into this thinking kind of like height, looks, you know. I didn't know the skills were right there with those other marketable qualities. Her defensive ground skills were very good. Very, very good. Like when she almost got her arm caught and then moved to stack and then used her knee to separate her shoulder from the hips of Gatto. I mean, Gatto was relentless from her back throwing up submission attempts. And honestly, I mean, we probably need to go round by round because it wasn't like just a clear walk away. No.
In fact, Cortez learned very early in the fight, got the early takedown, and then was into Gatto's guard, and it was tough for her. She controlled that position and had immense amounts of control in the first round, but really couldn't do much to attack because Gatto was so active attacking from the bottom.
Yeah, bro. Man, hey, say this is corny if you want to, man. This is a good example of, I thought, like whoever wins this fight, dauber up for both ladies, man.
I love Gatto's game too. I think it's so dangerous for any
so dangerous and such a tough puzzle to solve, and maybe it was able to be solved, but not everybody's going to be able to solve it, bro. Like you said, so active from her back, and the stand up was fucking gnarly too.
So the first round I went to Cortez on 10-9. With that being said, So, okay, perfect. So with that being said, the second round featured Gato kind of piecing her up on
Yeah,
the feet, and
yeah,
then
man.
also still being dangerous from her back when the takedown came.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I like Gato's skill set. Like, hey, sometimes whenever, because you hear a lot of former fighters talk about like it's not about the result, it's about the performance. And a lot of times I roll my eyes. I'm not gonna lie. As like, yeah, people remember the wins and the losses, right? But there's certain examples where it kind of rings true, man. And like Gato's performance was fucking good.
It was really good, man. I mean, she even had Cortez's back at one point in round two. Now, that being said, Cortez did a great job to get the 2-on-1 turn into her body and escape, and she clearly has some pretty slick hips as well as Gato for them to be able to just rotate within each other like that. But I think, long story short, we both had it 19-19 after two, and it was going to be
Yes.
whoever won the third round to win the fight. And both girls seemed to have really good cardio as well. I didn't think either girl looked tired necessarily in the third.
Yeah, man, and I think you got to credit Brian Ortega for both the cardio and the defensive jiu-jitsu.
The coaching, yeah. The defensive jiu-jitsu was very, very good, and you could hear
How
him calling the
comfortable did
moves
she
out from the
look
corner.
just in all those dangerous positions? She
I
was
mean, who's a
fucking
better
cool
guy
as
to
ice.
have? And they're not far apart in weight, man. I mean, you got to think about it that way, too. Like, walking around weight, they're probably 40 pounds apart, maybe 30, which you can roll with someone 30
Yeah.
pounds heavier than you. It's
Oh,
not a
they're
big deal.
100% trained together. And
Right.
you can tell. Because like I said, there was, like they said, so many fighters would have been intimidated by
She
Gato's
never
power.
panicked in the
She never
situations either.
panicked.
You could tell she was very comfortable in understanding exactly what she needed to do to try and fight that position.
It's weird.
And you got to
It's kind of like Volkanovski versus. Well, never mind.
But you got to think about it, right? Like, I don't want to give him credit for what she can do
Yeah,
because that is her, but at the same time, like, it can't hurt to have that man in your corner and as your life partner at the
dude. To
moment.
me, it was jumping off. It was jumping off the screen. There's
Yeah.
no other way.
I'll be honest, because
Gato.
Gato is a jiu-jitsu specialist. So for her to be able to defensively deny all of those attacks for 15 minutes and then also land some good ground and pound, what else can be said except for the fact that she showed out last night? I mean, Tracy Cortez takes a decision 29-28. I scored it the same way. Did you have it the same way? Did you give it round three to Gato? Because round three I thought was pretty clear with the takedown and control. Gato clearly was starting to wear down a little bit, didn't have the same activity from the bottom. But Cortez, I think, had kind of figured out the puzzle a lot more.
Well, this was just a good example of it was a competitive fight, but it was easy to score. Sometimes those things don't align, and sometimes they do. But like this was easy to score.
We'll get to not competitive at all / hardest fight to score of the year because nothing happened.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to talk about that. I'm not even being sarcastic.
And I'm not saying not competitive in the sense of like it was obvious. I'm saying not competitive in the sense of neither fighter competed at all.
Well, it's like that fight was so bad that it gives us plenty to talk about, which is kind of cool for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But next, let's keep it pushing, dude. Because Andre Fialho, like, bro, I got my shovel right here, man. And it's fucking ready to go. It's fucking ready to go.
Oh, you got a snow shovel with some coal on it?
The biggest one at fucking Lowe's.
Oh. All right, well, at the next fight we have at welterweight, Cameron Van Camp at plus 325 versus Andre Fialho. I'm going to say Fialho. That sounds better to me. At minus 425. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know what to think about these odds. I didn't know a lot about Fialho.
See, bro, I was all in on Fialho, bro. Like, if I was going to hit the sports book this week, this fight was going to be my parlay. I felt better. This is how much I'm on Fialho's dick. I felt better about Fialho at minus 400 than I did about Michael Chandler at minus 400.
You want to hear something crazy on the betting odds as they finalized over the course of like released by the time the fight started? / live odds betting as well. Fialho by finish was 73% of the money that was bet on him.
No, dude, Fialho's a hammer, bro. I mean,
Yikes.
I'm on the high train.
73% of the money is on him to get a finish?
Dude,
Yikes.
I mean, he was fighting the guy making his debut, and it was a weird thing where this guy making his debut was trying to say he was a lightweight, but he was also 6'2" and the biggest welterweight I've ever seen in my life. So it's just like, I don't really know what you're talking about there, bud. But
You could get Fialho by KO at minus 135.
hey, man, I like Fialho in a parlay. I did.
Could have got him by finish at minus 165, just so sub or KO. That'd be a great parlay builder for the people.
Fialho's going to have to get tested soon because it's going to be like irresponsible to keep putting these type of guys in there with him. Like, seriously.
Okay, I'm glad you say that because I was going to ask you, do you think that the level, there was just a big level gap here? Because the way it ends is Fialho kind of got a little rocked, I thought, but in his post-fight interview said, I wasn't rocked. It just kind of woke me up and told me, like, okay, it's time to finish this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go full-blown rocked. But
right. He got clipped and he was like...
He found himself in a fight.
Right, and then he lands that monstrous left hook counter and, I mean, just literally closed the show with it. Like, it was like dropping a corpse to the floor. It was brutal.
When he just fought like 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. Quick turnaround.
He knocked out.
Going to have another quick turnaround.
Right?
He was,
I think it was Baeza. I think it was God.
I believe that's correct. Now, was it him who was campaigning to go to fight in Singapore as well?
Yes.
Right. So he's
275. He's using the Hamza game plan, and I fucking love it.
And how genius is it too? Because his teammate is already booked to fight on that card. They're looking for a few more fights to fill it. Brendan Allen is his teammate. They have the same coaches. So when they travel, the logistics, the UFC saves money to book a fight with him on there.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm here for it, bro. I'm telling you what I'm saying. Like, Fialho doesn't even have a card, but when he does, I'm going to buy his rookie card. Like, I'm telling you, I'm on the high train, bro. This guy's a fucking killer. Yeah, I know there's so many good people in that weight class. And it's not even worth our time to, like, break down the top end. But, hey, dog, I'm to the point where I'm like, hey, the back-end guys don't want that Fialho smoke. I'm there. Hey, call it premature. Time will tell. Maybe we'll have to eat a big spoonful of shit in the future for this. Maybe you can clip this. But, bro, I'm telling you.
Oh, Fialho's getting himself a clip here.
I'm here for the Fialho hype train, bro. I'm here for it. Like, I think he's ready for the back end.
So, okay, 170. I'll give you some names here real fast, and then we can move on. I do also want to note Fialho did get a bonus, first bonus of the night, handed out. Got a 50K finisher's bonus. Good for that guy. Back into welterweight. I think it's a second bonus. I think it's 2 fights, 2 bonuses, if I'm not mistaken. Which good for him. Back into welterweight is looking like this. We'll go 11 through 15. You got Chiesa, Jeff Neal, Li Jingliang, Ponzinibbio, and Rakhmonov. I don't know if he's there yet.
Oh, dude, he's there. He's there. But you know, all right, so I'm also a Rakhmonov dick rider.
I think a Ponzinibbio fight would be a lot of fun with him stylistically because they both want to come forward and smash.
But, bro, Fialho, I just feel like he's built different. Like, when guys get hit by him, I mean, granted, small sample size, but I also feel like, all right, we don't know who this Van Camp guy is, but you know I'm a Baeza fan, so I'm basing a lot of this of how we did Baeza. Like, it's just, when he hits guys, the way they respond is just different.
Well, and Fialho's only loss is to Michel Pereira, the crazy wild guy, back in January of this year.
Wow.
So, and he KO'd. Yeah, me too. That was his UFC debut as well, so you kind of get some leeway there. He fought a guy, 2 guys before that, September, and then October. He's super active. He has 5 fights in the last 8 months. So starting that span, KO'd a guy I've never heard of in the first round in Abu Dhabi Warriors, which is a UAE promotion, and then fought Stefan Sekulic, who used to be in the UFC, KO'd him in 2 minutes in that, then got his UFC shot. But then more importantly, after that loss to Pereira, takes 3 months off, fights Baeza, and April 16th, KOs him in the first round. Then has this fight, 3 weeks later, KOs him in the first round, and now is asking to fight, let's see, when is 275?
I mean, a month. For all intents and purposes, a month.
Yeah, exactly right. So, 275 is June 11th. So, yeah, literally 34 days. So he's asking for another fight in 5 weeks. So, I mean,
Yeah, no,
three
bro, I'm
fights,
telling
8
you, I'm
weeks.
here
The dude's
for it.
super active.
I fuck with it. It's he's on my radar. I'm a fan. I'm here for Fialho, man. I think he's the real deal.
I'm with you, bro. I mean, we can keep it pushing. And in the in between, I do want to note real fast.
Do you think we should end this video, or do you want to just and come back for the regular prelims?
Yeah, I think it'll build it better anyway. But final note before we dip, just on 275. Right now, the 4 booked fights on that are obviously Yuri Teixeira. I don't know if you know who I'm rooting for. You can see him back there. Tyler
Me too,
Santos.
bro. I want to see Yuri as champ.
Me too. God, he's awesome. Santos fights Shevchenko for her belt. Shevchenko's only minus 800 right now, so not huge odds for her. Joanna Weili is the rematch.
I know. Hey, that's the fight. I was waiting for you to say that one. Hey, I'm more stoked for that than I am to come in.
And Whittaker Vittori.
Ooh.
Yeah. Gas 4 fights already.
You know
that
I
main
love
card's
my
going to be,
bro. You know I love my middleweights.
That main card's crazy sick. Crazy sick.
What's your thoughts on that, man? Because it's like Vittori's earned my respect. Like,
does Fialho fight potentially Santiago Ponzinibbio on that card as this kicker off to the main card?
I'd be fucking here for it and not mad about my allocation of $75 if that was the case.
All right, I just wanted to give you some more coal. What was your question? I apologize.
I don't even know. I got too much wood over the Fialho UFC 275.
Was it? How do I feel about Vittori Whittaker?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I thought as much. I just want to make sure. Man, weird fight, but like I always say, I think Whittaker is the 1A to Adesanya's 1. So I'm going to take Whittaker in a close fight, but I think Vittori's fight style is tough for Whittaker.
I mean, I know weight classes are a real thing, but when I close my eyes, I just think Vittori's so much bigger. Like, we saw Vittori at 205 in his last fight, and he looked normal. Like, you know what I'm saying? He looked the same.
Whittaker did used to fight 170, and there's not a day on the planet Earth Vittori could make 170.
No,
so I will give you Vittori is the bigger man, for sure.
I think Robert
but Whittaker's faster.
I think Robert Whittaker's probably the more skilled fighter. He's probably even the better athlete. But I think there's something to be said about being bigger and having a crazy chin and being fucking, you know what I mean? Just being game.
I'm with you. I think I see it both ways, right? But I think end of the day, in a 3-round fight, I like Whittaker.
And I gotta say, man, probably gonna get plus money on Vittori. That can make you feel differently too if you go.
Yeah, opening line is only available on PointsBet right now. Caesars and all those guys haven't come in, but I mean, roughly PointsBet's pretty close typically. Right now they have Vittori as a plus 195 and Whittaker as a minus 240. It's kind of juicy on Vittori.
I kind of like it, but I knew that was gonna be the case because it's like, all right, just in a
He opened at plus 165. So money's coming in on Whittaker big right now. Now's the time to get Vittori if you're going to get him.
When it's like, man, in a hypothetical, it's pretty close. But you throw a money line on it, and it's like, hey, if I'm 50-50 and I'm getting 2-1 back on Vittori.
Right. It has to be a good valuation of units. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel, man. But, hey, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back for these regular prelims. Appreciate it, man. Episode 87. UFC 274. We're talking every single fucking fight on the card, and we'll be right back for this.